It was the celebration gala for the IPO of Vicky Vance's company, the night she announced her engagement to her executive assistant. The husband who had silently supported her from the shadows for 7 years, watched as Julian Reed stood shoulder to shoulder with her, raising his champagne glass. The company could only reach this milestone thanks to the biggest supporter behind me, Vicky announced to the glittering room. He is also the father of a child in my womb, Julian Reed. She beamed. Thank you all for your trust. Going forward, I will lead this company to new heights. I watched the crowd congratulate them on their triple blessing, my heart turning to cold ash. 7 years of devotion, and it was finally time to let go. Today isn't just about the IPO, Vicky continued, her voice amplified by the microphone. It's also the day of my engagement. Everyone knows I couldn't have achieved such success in my career and personal life without one person supporting me tirelessly from behind the scenes, taking care of me. She paused for effect. Naturally, he is also the father of my baby. He is. The crowd murmured in surprise, whispering about the CEO's sudden official announcement. Vicky paused, signaling for silence, a smile of gratitude on her face. Before the party, she had hinted to me that she would publicly thank someone very special and important to her. My heart had swelled with anticipation. I had even pre-ordered a massive bouquet of roses. In that moment, the corners of my mouth lifted, I straightened my posture, ready to run to her side. He is my assistant, Julian Reed. My smile froze on my face. The hand gripping the roses began to tremble uncontrollably. I watched as Julian walked up to her amidst the uproar, wrapping his arm around her shoulder. Julian shot a dark glance in my direction, then shrugged with feigned helplessness. We kept it from everyone for so long because we didn't want personal matters to interfere with company business. But since my CEO is willing to go public, naturally, so am I. Immediately after, Vicky addressed the audience below the stage with delight. Besides the IPO and my personal news, there is another piece of good news today. Our leadership team is adding another member. Congratulations to our new director, Julian Reed. Vicky and Julian were swarmed by people, basking in the flattery. I stood in the crowd, jostled by passerby. Everyone was congratulating them on their perfect match, a couple made in heaven. I felt dazed. Just standing upright took every ounce of strength I had left. A colleague's urging voice came from beside me. What are you dazing out for? Go up and congratulate them. CEO Vance is handing out bonus packets. If you're late, there won't be any left. I forced myself to squeeze to the front, my eyes red, staring dead at Vicky as I spoke, enunciating every word. CEO Vance, is the child really Julian's? When did this happen? After I asked this, strange looks fell upon me from all sides, and the congratulations quieted significantly. Vicky handed me a red bonus envelope, glaring at me subtly. The last packet was saved especially for Manager Miller. Taking the envelope, a flicker of hope ignited in me. But a second later, she took Julian's arm, their fingers interlacing tightly. The ring on her slender finger stung my eyes. She had never been willing to wear our diamond wedding ring. But now, on her middle finger, sat a plain engagement band matching Julian's. If the child isn't Julian's, whose could it be? With that, Vicky and Julian raised their glasses to toast the crowd, never glancing at me again. I gripped the envelope tightly, suppressing the sour sting in my eyes, my heart dead. Walking out of the magnificent ballroom, I tossed the bouquet of roses into the nearest trash can. I dialed a number. Elena, I accept the offer to jump to your firm. As long as you come, Caleb, I'll give you the best package in the company. It's a deal. For a talent like you, I'd wait forever. Hanging up, I stood in the freezing Chicago winter for a long time. I brought a cigarette to my lips, trying several times to light it, but my trembling hands failed me. The bone-chilling wind was nothing compared to the cold in my heart. I had been with Vicky for 7 years, married for 4, and she had always hidden our relationship from the public. She told me it was for her career, that once she was successful, she would announce us. Even when people questioned our closeness, she would immediately deny rumors. To give her peace of mind, I worked on the front lines of the company, bearing burdens without complaint. But today, the company went public, and she announced her engagement to Julian, claiming the child was his. Julian had been at the company less than a year, yet she favored him. In her eyes, what was I? A servant to be summoned and dismissed at will? That night, Vicky came home. As soon as she opened the door, she twitched her nose, frowned, and spoke impatiently. Caleb, I'm pregnant and you're actually smoking. Didn't you quit ages ago? You started again? I really overestimated you. Do you take anything I say to heart? I looked at her coldly, silent for a moment, then sneered. Don't worry, I smoked outside. But about the child in your belly, care to explain? Vicky looked a bit guilty, her tone softening. Listing the company requires a huge amount of capital. If I announce I'm engaged and pregnant, it generates hype and attracts more investors to the project. As for the baby, of course it's yours. When you asked me today, the engagement procedure with Julian was already done. I couldn't very well say your name then. Seeing me silent, she walked to the sofa next to me, sat down, and leaned her head on my shoulder. In the past, I cared so much for Vicky that whenever this strong, independent woman showed a clingy side, my heart would melt. She shook my arm, and I almost softened. But when I looked down, the scent of pine wafted into my nose from her clothes. It was a scent I'd only ever smelled on Julian. I frowned and couldn't help pushing her away. My action made Vicky's face darken instantly. She raised her voice. Caleb Miller, I'm giving you a chance here. I did this for you. If you weren't so unpresentable, would I have had to push Julian out in front of the public? Julian is a returnee from studying abroad. His abilities are outstanding. He's perfect for big occasions. I raised an eyebrow at her. Vicky, ask yourself honestly, is it that I'm unpresentable or that you don't want me to be presented? How can Julian go up there, but I, your lawful husband, cannot? A flash of embarrassment crossed Vicky's face. In terms of education, I graduated from a top university far better than Julian's obscure diploma mill abroad. In terms of ability, when the company first started, I handled both technology and sales, burying myself in R&D while also charming clients. Some said Vicky was just a pretty vase who knew nothing. Vicky felt I stole her thunder. She said she wanted to be the envied girl boss and demanded I become the man behind her. Back then, I valued her more than myself, so I agreed, voluntarily giving her the credit and the glory. But now, the wife I planned to spend my life with was crediting my sacrifices and even my identity to another man. Vicky dug a tie out of her white crocodile skin bag and handed it to me. Let's just say today was my fault. We'll find a chance to clarify later. This is a gift I bought specifically for you. See if you like it. Whenever Vicky felt she owed me, she would toss me a random gift to dismiss me. And every time, I would receive it with joy, giving her a way out. But today, her intention seemed so transparent, her perfunctory attitude so obvious. All these years, was I ever in her heart? Were my feelings so worthless to her? I fiddled with the dark blue tie until the tag reading, "Not for sale," caught my eye. I suddenly remembered Julian's Instagram post from this morning. In the photo, he was wearing a matching dark blue suit, a custom limited edition from Amore Prima. The caption read, "Thanks to my baby for the special gift. Only love that goes both ways is blessed. The one not loved is the extra." I looked at the tie and found it laughable. I let out a scoff and, right in front of Vicky, threw the tie directly into the trash can. Vicky's face sank. "Don't be ungrateful. I'm trying to coax you. What more do you want me to do?" "If I'm not mistaken," I said, "this tie was the free gift with purchase that came with Julian's suit. I don't want scraps that others didn't want." Vicky flew into a rage from the humiliation. "Caleb, all you know how to do is get jealous. Who do you think you are? I was kind enough to give you a tie. Take it or leave it. Don't think about sleeping in the same room as me tonight." With that, she slammed the bedroom door shut with a bang. I sat on the sofa until my legs went numb, scrolling through Julian's social media for a long time. My face was bitter. All those subtle, show-off posts Julian had made over the last 6 months suddenly made sense. Married for 4 years, Vicky focused on work, while I managed every corner of the home just so she wouldn't be distracted. Every bit of renovation in this house, I did myself. Vicky liked European style, so the chandeliers, sofas, and bookcases were all custom ordered from Italy by me. 2 months ago, when I found out she was pregnant, I converted the guest room into a cozy nursery to make her happy. She didn't like takeout, so I watched videos to learn how to cook for her. Wedding anniversaries, Valentine's Day, birthdays. Every holiday, I meticulously prepared surprises and gifts. She was always cold about them. I thought she just wasn't romantic. Now I realized she just wanted to spend those holidays with someone else. Those subtle, love-flaunting social media posts felt like knives stabbing into my heart. The thought of divorce sprouted like bamboo shoots after rain, unstoppable. But thinking of the unborn child in Vicky's womb, I couldn't bring myself to be ruthless just yet. However, I truly didn't want to stay at the company anymore. The next day, I made 2 breakfasts as usual. Vicky ate, then uncharacteristically invited me to carpool to work with her. I didn't refuse. Vicky never let me sit in the same car as her to work. During the days of heavy rainstorms this year, I discussed with Vicky if I could catch a ride since my rideshare kept canceling. She scolded me harshly, saying I just wanted to expose our relationship and told me to go back home if I couldn't get a taxi. Julian parked the car at the door to pick Vicky up. Seeing me open the car door, he spoke in feigned shock. "Why is Manager Miller here today?" I glanced at Julian. He looked at me with provocation. "I drive Vicky to and from work every day, but this is the first time I've seen Manager Miller." "Vicky, I drank so much with the investors at the banquet last night. My head is still spinning. Manager Miller left early yesterday, so he must be fine. Let him drive." He looked at Vicky with aggrieved puppy eyes. Vicky frowned in thought, then spoke like she was giving an order. "Caleb, you drive then." "No." I choose to continue calling a cab. I was full of suppressed anger and had no desire to be Julian's chauffeur. "So, you mean to let a pregnant woman drive?" I looked at her slightly protruding lower abdomen and finally relented. "Forget it, I'll drive." Along the way, Julian and Vicky chatted and laughed in the back seat. Vicky laughed so hard she leaned her head on Julian's shoulder. Julian looked at me triumphantly through the rearview mirror. "Manager Miller won't be unhappy because I pick up and drop off Vicky every day, right? He won't care about such small things," Vicky said, cutting me off. My gaze grew colder. I let out a dry laugh and met Julian's eyes in a mirror. An assistant picking up the CEO is only proper duties. Nothing to mind. Hearing the implication, Julian let out a sullen. Vicky was very dissatisfied with my attitude. "Just drive properly and stop talking." We arrived at the company parking garage. When Vicky got out, Julian gave me a malicious look. He said there was something in the passenger side glove compartment and hoped I could still smile after seeing it. Vicky was swift and decisive, heading straight for the elevator the moment she stepped out. Julian hurried to catch up. My hand was already on the glove compartment. I involuntarily held my breath. Subconsciously, I already had a premonition of what was inside. Sure enough, lying in the compartment was a prenatal test report. The blood test results showed that Vicky was 4 months pregnant, and the biological father was Julian Reed. I thought I would break down, scream, go crazy, and chase after them to confront Vicky. But suddenly, I just felt a sigh of relief. Disappointment after disappointment had numbed me long ago. I figured it out. This rotten marriage could just be discarded. 4 months ago, she and Julian went on a business trip for a month. So it was then. Yet she told me she was 2 months pregnant, and that it was mine. 2 months ago, Vicky had held up a pregnancy test, saying she was pregnant. I was ecstatic, picking her up and spinning her around. Because she wanted to focus on her career and wait a few years for children, I had always been strictly careful with contraception according to her demands. At the time, I thought this child was perhaps arranged by fate. But now, this report chilled me to the bone. I dialed a lawyer to discuss drafting a divorce agreement. There were many colleagues arriving for the morning rush. After yesterday's gala, everyone's focus was on Vicky and Julian walking into the office building together. Manager Miller and CEO Vance have always been close, acting like a married couple. Turns out that kid Julian took the CEO down not long after arriving. Manager Miller is basically a total simp. Simped until the end and got nothing. Ha! I walked straight into the elevator. They looked at each other and lowered their voices. Colleagues eat up gossip without knowing the truth. I didn't blame them. I only blamed Vicky for creating this mess, putting me in such a humiliating position. I silently reviewed the divorce agreement the lawyer sent me. After replying, "No problem," I turned off my phone. Arriving at the technology department, I methodically handed over my work to colleagues. At noon, I planned to grab something quick at the staff cafeteria, but I ran into Vicky and Julian there. Julian led Vicky to sit deliberately right next to me. "Vicky, eat more, you're too thin." Julian peeled a shrimp and fed it to Vicky's mouth. Colleagues around us cast envious glances. CEO Vance and Director Reed are so loving. Vicky looked embarrassed, but pleased. Director Reed knows I have a bad stomach, so he insists I eat properly. When the company was first established, there were many social engagements, and that was when Vicky drank until she damaged her stomach. No matter how late Vicky came back from entertaining clients, I would always prepare warm porridge and hangover soup for her. Later, relying on my R&D, the company gained more projects, and Vicky no longer needed to go to those drinking parties. I smiled without speaking, took my tray, and stood up to leave. Dissatisfied with my reaction, Julian called out to me directly. "Manager Miller, leaving after eating so little? Are you not feeling well?" With Julian's comment, everyone's eyes fell on me. "Eating at the same table as you affects my appetite." I shook my head and started to walk away. Julian's eyes reddened, and he looked at Vicky aggrievedly. Vicky scoffed coldly, her face full of ice, and ordered me to stop. "This is the company. It's no place for your insolence. You will apologize to Director Reed right now. Otherwise, Caleb, you can get the hell out." Exactly what I had in mind. I left a carefree silhouette behind, ignoring Vicky's roaring voice. During the lunch break, I went to the law firm and retrieved the divorce papers. In the afternoon, I submitted my resignation to HR. Holding the divorce agreement, I went to Vicky's office to find her. Before I even got close to the door, her new assistant blocked me. Manager Miller, CEO Vance, and Director Reed are in a meeting inside. You can't go in now. Leave any files for signing with me. I felt something was wrong. Ignoring the new assistant's obstruction, I went to push the door. I can't stop Manager Miller. The new assistant screamed beside me. I turned the handle with a trembling hand. My hand slipped, failing to open it the first time. Just as I was about to turn it a second time, the door to Vicky's office opened. Julian stood in the doorway, blocking my view perfectly. He looked at me with annoyance. Is Manager Miller here to apologize to me? Looking at his poorly folded collar and his flushed face, emotions surged in my chest. I clenched my fists, shoved past Julian, and stared straight at Vicky in the office chair. The moment I saw her, my heart tightened. She was a very meticulous person who cared about appearances. No matter the situation, she maintained her image. The shirt that was perfectly fitted this morning was now buttoned wrong. Knowing is one thing. Walking in on it is another. I could imagine the scene of them frantically dressing just now, and rage instantly ignited. Vicky's face was beet red as she glared at me, bluffing. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Is the CEO's office a place you could just barge into? You two truly disgust me. I slammed the resignation letter and the divorce agreement on her desk. Vicky Vance, I'm divorcing you. You want to divorce me? Vicky thought she heard wrong. She couldn't believe I would actively bring up divorce. If you're not satisfied with the asset division, you could change it. I keep the house. The 5% of company shares that belong to me go to you, and I only want $200,000. Vicky knew in her heart that my contribution to the company over the years far exceeded that amount. As for the house, I bought it, and I oversaw the entire renovation. The new assistant's eyes went wide, staring incredulously between the three of us. Vicky gritted her teeth and looked at her. Get out now. The assistant nodded immediately and left, leaving only the three of us in the office. Vicky didn't think twice before losing her temper at me. Caleb, what right do you have to bring up divorce? I made you apologize to Julian at lunch, so you used divorce to force me to submit? I never realized you were so manipulative. Using divorce as a threat. Julian looked at me with faux comfort. Manager Miller, I stopped caring about lunch ages ago. Don't mention divorce to Vicky over such a small thing. The company is just taking off, and Vicky is pregnant. If you make a scene about divorce now, outsiders will add fuel to the fire and write all sorts of messy news. I rolled my eyes at him, laughing out of sheer anger. Don't you two have a clue why I'm divorcing? One has her shirt inside out, the other has his collar flipped up. You're hooking up in the office, and I can't even be bothered to point it out. Besides, is that my child? Do you expect me to raise a kid for the two of you? I slammed the prenatal test report hidden in the divorce papers onto the table. Panic flashed in Vicky's eyes. She glanced at it and flew into a rage out of humiliation. Caleb, what right do you have to divorce me? I just made a tiny mistake. Is it worth divorcing me over? I didn't know how Vicky had the nerve to say such things, dismissing infidelity as something trivial. Caleb, take the divorce agreement back now, and I'll pretend I never saw it. But just this once. I don't want you threatening me with divorce again. To warn you, apologize to Julian now, and we'll consider the lunch incident water under the bridge. Julian feigned refusal. Let's forget it. Manager Miller is proud and arrogant. How could he apologize to me? Just forget it. Watching them sing their duet, I only found it amusing. Apologize? Huh. I have no intention of continuing with you. Please sign. Vicky's face went rigid. She gritted her teeth, staring at me. Don't be ungrateful. Without me, you are nothing. Even if you beg me in the future, I won't take you back. Think clearly. Sign it. Even if you don't sign now, I'll go through legal proceedings. Emotions churned in Vicky's eyes as she stared at me, hesitating. Sign. I pointed to the signature line. She slapped the table in frustration. Don't you regret this? She snatched the pen and signed, pressing down so hard she almost tore the paper. Julian looked like his scheme had succeeded, unable to suppress his provocative thoughts. Some people are short-sighted. Angering Vicky means it won't be easy to reconcile later. After signing, Vicky held the agreement and report, returning to her high and mighty posture. Caleb, leave this place, and I will have you blacklisted in the entire industry. No company will hire you. If you beg me now, I'll tear these papers up and pretend this never happened. Julian was afraid I might waver. Vicky, who would dare hire him if he leaves the company? Maybe in a few days, he'll come back begging you. I looked at them coldly, unable to hold back a laugh, and snatched the divorce agreement and resignation letter. We have nothing to do with each other from now on. When I stormed out of Vicky's office, several colleagues happened to pass by. Before long, the whole company knew I had resigned. Colleagues were buzzing with speculation about why Vicky and I fought, leading to my firing and industry blacklisting. Soon, the news of the divorce agreement spread to everyone as well. That evening, a slender figure appeared at the entrance of a restaurant. Elena Sterling walked in unhurriedly, wearing a high-end tailored dress. When I first graduated, Elena had invited me to work for her family business. We shared the same mentor, who often praised my abilities. But I was bent on helping Vicky start her business, so I rejected the opportunity to enter Sterling Corp., a chance others dreamed of. Back then, I was too young and arrogant, thinking true love could conquer all difficulties. Elena stirred her coffee with a spoon, her expression playful. "Junior, you wouldn't come to my company back then. Why change your mind now? Was that small company wasting your talent?" Years had passed, and Elena was much more mature and elegant than in my memories. I sighed deeply and smiled bitterly. I'm about to be blacklisted by my former company. As it stands, I can only beg CEO Sterling to give me a job. She lifted the corners of her mouth, eyes curving into a smile. "Don't be so formal. Just call me Elena. Judging by your state, were you unhappy working there?" After 2 beers, the sadness in my heart spilled over, and I poured out my recent ordeal. The more Elena listened, the angrier she got, dropping her poise to curse my ex-wife for being blind. Giving up a good man like me. She said Vicky would regret it sooner or later. She cursed a few more times, hitting right at my heartstrings, moving me to secretly wipe away a few tears. Finally, she slapped the table, telling me to handle my family affairs and started her company next Monday. When I got home, it was already 11 p.m. As soon as I entered, I saw the living room lights on. Vicky sat on the sofa, looking angry. "Where did you go? I've been waiting for you for over 2 hours. Go make me a midnight snack now. I'm hungry." Hearing this, I paused. "If you're hungry, cook yourself or order takeout." Vicky's face darkened, and she scolded me. "Go make it. Don't you know pregnant women can't go hungry?" Seeing her entitled expression made me angry. I felt like all my years of devotion had been fed to dogs. When we were married, I treated her like a queen, preparing dishes to her tastes. After she got pregnant, I was even more considerate, getting up from bed without a word to cook whatever she craved in the middle of the night. I lifted my eyes to glance at her, then walked straight toward the hallway. Seeing me get up, Vicky's expression softened slightly. "Stir-fry some spicy chicken, make it extra hot, and slice some pears." But a second later, she realized I wasn't heading to the kitchen, but to the study. Vicky suddenly raged. "What is the meaning of this?" Her answer was the sound of me slamming the door hard. That night, I slept peacefully. For a stubborn person like me, once I let go, I never dragged things out. The next morning, Vicky ordered me to make breakfast. Instead, I placed the signed divorce papers in front of her. "No work today. Let's go get the certificate. By the way, the house is mine. Please move out as soon as possible." She froze, her face turning black. "Caleb, what game are you playing? You love me to death. I don't believe you can leave me. If you have the guts, let's go to City Hall right now." When we came out of City Hall, Vicky looked like she wanted to speak to me several times. She was irritable the whole way, likely because I didn't beg and cling to stay as she expected. She was used to me holding her in the palm of my hand. She couldn't accept me cutting ties so decisively. At the entrance, we went our separate ways. Julian drove up to pick her up. He lifted his chin, wrapped his arm around Vicky's waist, a flicker of glee in his eyes. "Some people just aren't meant to be." "Manager Miller." "Oh wait, you're not a manager anymore." He paused. "Caleb, don't be too sad." I looked at him for a few seconds and sneered. "Nothing to be sad about." Hearing this, Vicky felt inexplicably annoyed. She shook off Julian's hand and stomped into the car. The first thing I did after returning home alone was to dismantle the nursery. A few days later, Vicky called movers to pack her things. She sat on the sofa, looking at me with a slightly aggrieved tone. "You kicked me out and tore down the nursery. Don't you feel any guilt?" She rarely softened. This attitude, right after the divorce, felt abnormal. Seeing I didn't speak, Vicky's tone turned to helplessness. "One thing is one thing. Although we're divorced, we were husband and wife. Can't we get along peacefully in the future?" "You don't know. After you left, the tech department turned into a mess. Several major investors you negotiated with want to pull their funds. Now, only if you come back can you preside over the situation." I looked at her with sarcasm. "You're carrying someone else's child, cheated on me, divorced me, and now you want me to wipe your ass? My retort made Vicky frown. What do you mean, wipe my ass? Didn't you co-found a company? Do you have no affection for it? Didn't the company pay you? Can't we keep public and private matters separate? I knew that having been a boss for so long, she always liked to take the moral high ground. Arguing with her was a pure waste of time. Sorry, I already have a new job. I won't interfere with my former company's affairs anymore. Vicky shook her head and scoffed. That's enough, Caleb. I've already put the word out. Which company would hire you? Come back now. Your position and pay will remain the same. I definitely won't mistreat you. Keep acting and it won't be funny anymore. I poured myself a glass of water. Vicky reached out to take it, but I calmly brought it to my own lips. Vicky retracted her hand, glaring at me. Vicky, you only want me back because I'm still useful, since your tech department can't develop new technology. But I'm different. Seeing you makes me sick. Since the company belongs to you, I will never go back. I've changed the smart lock code on the house. Once you finish moving, don't come back. Her face turned black with rage. 1 month later, the scandal of Vicky's divorce spread, and coupled with investors withdrawing capital and frequent issues in the tech department, her company's stock plummeted not long after the IPO. Her industry reputation nosedived. Although Vicky tried to suppress the rumors and take remedial measures, the company showed a declining trend. Meanwhile, I had been working at Elena's company for a month. My skills won the recognition of my colleagues, and I got along with them well. Elena valued me highly, asking me to accompany her to an industry symposium to evaluate an investment. Grateful for her appreciation, I agreed without even looking at the invitation. That evening, the same grand hall, filled with familiar faces coming and going. I froze. If I had known the symposium was hosted by my former company, I would have declined. I turned to leave, intending to wait for Elena to arrive before entering, but I was stopped by several former colleagues asking questions. Holy crap, Manager Miller. Heard you and CEO Vance divorced? Is the kid really Director Reed's? Is it true? Not far away, surrounded by a crowd, Vicky's eyes lit up and she immediately called out to me. Caleb, you're not part of the company anymore. What are you doing at the symposium? And you lot, what are you looking at? Tonight's meeting concerns investment from Sterling Corp. Get busy. She scolded the crowd, and everyone started moving, but their eyes kept drifting toward me. She walked up to me, laughing lightly, looking like victory was in her grasp. Caleb, I knew you still loved me. You can't live without me. You regretted it after just a few days and followed me to the company symposium. If you want me to forgive you, show me your sincerity. Beg me first. Beside her, Julian, red-eyed, stood in front of Vicky like a dog guarding its food. Caleb, as a man, keep some dignity for yourself. Okay. What's the point of pestering Vicky? Julian pointed his finger at me in front of everyone, accusing me. Love or whatever aside, I think he's just upset he got too little money from the divorce and wants to cause a scene. Otherwise, why pick such an important night to find Vicky? Hearing this, Vicky frowned, thought for a moment, and said with disgust, Caleb, why are you still so unpresentable? Forget it. Nothing can go wrong with a meeting with Sterling Corp's technical advisor tonight. Get out now, or I'll call security to throw you out. I'm not leaving, I said solemnly. I am Sterling Corp's technical advisor. Blocked by me. How can any company hire you? Vicky looked at me coldly. Julian laughed along, directing people to surround me. Just as they were about to throw me out, Elena walked in with her assistants and bodyguards. Her entrance commanded the room, her aura attracting everyone's gaze. Vicky immediately put on a smile and rushed to greet her. CEO Sterling, hello, hello. Oh, you came personally? It's truly an honor. By the way, where's your technical advisor? He can start reviewing our R&D. I have full confidence in our technology. Elena paused, then pointed a finger at me. Isn't he right there? Advisor Miller, what are you standing there for? Go review this company's technical report. The words stunned everyone. The former colleagues who realized what was happening started winking at me and serving me tea and water. The newly appointed tech manager handed me the report, trembling. Brother Caleb, have mercy. Vicky's smile froze. How is this possible? Julian even questioned aloud. Doesn't Sterling Corp do background checks? Besides, how could he become an advisor in one step? Elena, sensing the strange atmosphere, patted my shoulder with a smile. Why is it impossible? Advisor Miller is my junior from university. Our mentor used to praise him endlessly. It's a pity. She sighed. It's a pity that when he graduated, for the sake of a woman, he went to some obscure little company and turned down my offer. You know, I invited him several times. She gave me a somber look, then became indignant. In the end, that blind woman hooked up with someone else, and even got pregnant with another man's child. Everyone present looked at each other, the room falling silent. Elena even asked Julian, "Tell me, is this woman blind and shameless?" Julian opened his mouth, but couldn't speak for a long time. Vicky's face turned green, and the former colleagues were dumbfounded. Seeing Julian not answering, Elena looked displeased. "Your company wants investment, yet you neglect Sterling Corp like this?" The new director doesn't seem to know how to speak. Vicky snapped out of it, forcing Julian's head down to apologize to Elena. Julian bowed with a fawning expression and personally poured a cup of tea for Elena. I coughed lightly. Elena noticed the cue and didn't take the tea. "What?" I put down my cup, the corner of my mouth hooking into a cold sneer. "This pregnant woman is my ex-wife. As for this Director Reed, it's not hard to guess. Just before you arrived, Elena, I said I was Sterling Corp's advisor, and he said he was going to throw me out. What is this about?" Elena narrowed her eyes. Her hand trembled, and the hot tea spilled all over Julian's high-end suit. "You," Julian blurted out, frantically wiping at the tea leaves. "Watch how you speak to CEO Sterling." Vicky's face changed, and she backhanded Julian with a slap. She understood that even if she couldn't get the investment, she absolutely could not offend Sterling Corp. Slapped in front of so many people, Julian felt incredibly wronged, covering his face and running out the door. Vicky ignored him completely. Instead, she piled on a smile, poured another cup of tea herself, and held it out to Elena with both hands. "CEO Sterling, please don't mind what just happened. It was a misunderstanding. Please calm down. You wanted to throw out Advisor Miller, so naturally, you must apologize to him." Elena waved her hand dismissively. Vicky's smile stiffened. Her fingers gripping the teacup turned white as she extended her hands toward me. I flipped through the evaluation report indifferently, not looking at her once. She glanced at Elena, gritted her teeth, and held the cup up. Seconds ticked by. Just as her fingers began to tremble from the strain, I took the cup. She thought I would refuse to give her face indefinitely. She paused, looking at me with a complicated expression. But the revenge I wanted wasn't petty corporal punishment. I gave her a cold look and shifted the topic. Here, there is a possibility that the test results are fabricated and the data is insufficient. I began to speak incessantly, ruthlessly pointing out the former company's faults. In summary, CEO Sterling, I do not recommend investing in this company. Vicky was completely dumbfounded. Without a doubt, the partnership was dead. Afterward, I intentionally spread the word in the industry about the issues in the technical report of Vicky's company. I also posted the divorce documents publicly. This news directly contradicted Vicky's earlier announcement of her engagement, pushing her into the eye of the storm. People who had collaborated with Vicky because of me terminated their contracts one after another, demanding huge compensations for the stock price impact caused by her personal issues. Not long after, Vicky declared bankruptcy, burdened with high breach of contract fees and debts. I didn't let Julian off the hook either. I directly exposed the kid's academic fraud. He claimed to be a Ritter-Knee scholar, but after my investigation, I found he was just a punk from a third-rate vocational school. He had even been arrested several times for stealing delivery food and solicitation. Deceived by such a stained person, even if I didn't take revenge on him, Vicky wouldn't let him go. I invited Elena to dinner, planning to thank her. I knew that Vicky going bankrupt so quickly was due to her pushing things behind the scenes, in addition to my overt efforts. Just arriving at the restaurant entrance, a frail figure suddenly appeared. Seeing me, she couldn't stop her tears. Her face was haggard and dull. She threw herself into my arms. "I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was deceived by that bastard Julian. Only you wouldn't lie to me." She cried her heart out. Passers-by stopped to watch. Those who didn't know better would think I was bullying her. I pushed her away with a cold face. "I find you repulsive. Please have some self-respect. We are already divorced." Vicky stared at me intently, trying to find a trace of reluctance on my face. But my expression remained cold. "I aborted the child. Julian lied to me, and I sent him to prison. Can you come back to me?" I took a firm step back. "No." Vicky's shoulders shook as she sobbed, gasping for breath. "I really know I was wrong. I promise you, I will never betray you again. As long as you come back to my side, we can announce our relationship if you want, have a baby if you want. Can we start over? As long as you forgive me, anything is fine. In this world, not every mistake can be wiped away with an 'I know I was wrong.'" I looked at her quietly. "Are you done? I have a dinner appointment. Goodbye forever." Vicky's eyes widened as she watched me walk past her without expression. Not far away, Elena, in a white dress, waved at me. I walked to her side, and she affectionately took my arm, blinking at me. The moment Vicky saw her, a flash of inferiority crossed her eyes, but she still looked at me with unwillingness. How can you two be together? Didn't you say you loved me the most? My face was stern. Anyone could be my girlfriend. Anyone could be my wife for life. The only person it cannot be is you. With that, I pulled Elena away, ignoring Vicky, who broke down crying behind us. Inside the restaurant, I let go of Elena's hand, but she immediately grabbed mine again. Didn't you say I was your girlfriend? I froze. She blinked and leaned into my ear. Tell you a secret. Actually, I've always been interested in you, Junior. Back in school, I hinted many times for you to confess to me, but you couldn't tell. In the end, you were snatched away by someone else. I regretted it so much. She bit her lip, took a half step back, and met my eyes. So now I've decided to be proactive. I wonder if you, Junior, are willing to give me this chance. Looking into her eyes, filled with stars, I nodded, as if possessed. Later, Vicky failed in her business ventures again, her debts piling higher and higher. In the end, she chose to end it all on a rooftop. When I heard the news, I felt melancholy for a second, then turned to ask Elena, who was on the sofa, what she wanted for lunch. Never mind lunch. Help me see which of these two names is better. Elena bit her pen, staring at the notebook in her hand. Sure, whatever you say, honey. I nodded, sat down beside her, and joined her in agonizing over the name of our soon-to-be-born child. Story complete.